Hello class 8. Today we are going to start a new geography chapter, that is composition and structure of the atmosphere. Okay. So in this chapter the first thing that we will know, that is the composition of the atmosphere. Rather, the composition of the atmosphere means the percentage of different kind of gases present in the atmosphere. As this diagram suggests, we can easily understand that more than 78% of the atmosphere consists of nitrogen gas. Okay. Then after nitrogen, the next important gas which is present in the atmosphere, that is oxygen. So oxygen is present in the atmosphere approximately 21%. 0.03% is occupied by carbon dioxide. Then water vapor and all the inert gases or the noble gases comprises 1%, and in this way the 100% of atmosphere we can say is composed of mainly nitrogen, oxygen, carbon dioxide and water vapor and inert gases. Now all these gases which are present in the atmosphere, they have got some uniqueness or they have got some unique features, and in that way they are helping the life forms of our earth. So first of all, the gas that we are going to discuss about, that is nitrogen. Nitrogen is present in our atmosphere abundantly. More than 78% of the total atmosphere is comprised of nitrogen. Nitrogen is something that each and every living being require for living. Why? Because all of us know that is the simplest unit of an organism's body is cell, and a very important part of the cell is the nucleus, whether it is a plant cell or it is an animal cell. Actually, nitrogen helps in the formation of this nucleus. But though we cannot absorb nitrogen directly from the atmosphere, we intake nitrogen with the help of the plants. Plants, they are getting nitrogen from the soil, and the rest of the living beings or rest of the living kingdom, they collect nitrogen or they get nitrogen from the plants. The next important gas which is present in our atmosphere, that is oxygen. This oxygen, what is the role of oxygen? All of us know. That is, for breathing we need oxygen. For any sort of combustion also oxygen is required. So this oxygen that we need, we directly get it from the atmosphere. We inhale oxygen from the atmosphere directly. Another thing that I have to say regarding nitrogen, that nitrogen avoids quick burning. So that is why we can say that it is responsible for the pressure exerted by the atmosphere. Okay. Now the third thing that we can say, or the third important gas which is present in our atmosphere, that is carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is present in very little form, or very less proportion of the atmosphere is comprised of carbon dioxide, only 0.03%. But it is very important for us. Why? First of all, carbon dioxide can absorb the solar insolation or heat energy of the sun. That is why it is considered as a greenhouse gas. Another thing, each and every green plant, they need carbon dioxide for preparation of their own food, or in other terms for doing photosynthesis. Next thing that we can say, that carbon dioxide can also be used as a fire extinguisher. But most importantly, as carbon dioxide is a greenhouse gas, or rather we can say that carbon dioxide is actually absorbing the heat energy of the sun and retaining that heat energy within itself. That is why carbon dioxide can influence the temperature of a place, or rather can control the climate of a place. The next important thing which is present in the atmosphere, that is water vapor. Water vapor is a very important part of our life because water is present in all the three forms in our earth: solid, liquid and gas, and water vapor is present in the atmosphere in the gaseous form. Most importantly, that we can say that water vapor is also responsible for the completion of hydrological cycle or water cycle. Without the water cycle, we won't be able to get the uninterrupted supply of water in our earth. Now the next thing that we have to know, that is dust particles. Dust particles are also present in our atmosphere and they are coming from different sources. For example, from pollen grains, from the ash, from the fine dust dust particles are also coming into the atmosphere from the factories, from the vehicles which are running on the road. So all these things, they are getting into the atmosphere, they are remaining into the atmosphere in the suspended form, and they are actually helping in condensation. We all know that water vapor, when it condenses, it forms water droplets, or after condensation, water vapor turns into cloud, and from that cloud we are getting rain. So these dust particles, they are actually helping in this condensation procedure, and that is why they are also known as hygroscopic nuclei. Now the next thing that we have to understand, that is the structure of the atmosphere. So far whatever we were studying, that was the composition of the atmosphere, means the things which are present in the atmosphere are things by which the atmosphere is made up of. Now the structure of the atmosphere. Okay, from the earth's surface till 80 km height, the chemical composition of the atmosphere is almost same. There is not much variation in the chemical composition up to 80 km. That is why up to 80 km the atmosphere is also known as homosphere. After 80 km or beyond 80 km, the chemical composition of different gases present in the atmosphere changes abruptly. That is why beyond 80 km, the layer of the atmosphere which is present, that is known as heterosphere. Within heterosphere, different layers are present. The lowermost layer is full of nitrogen molecules. Next, and after that, up to 200 km, above 200 km, the next layer has got huge amount of oxygen atoms. Next layer, that is from 1100 km to 3500 km, is full of helium atoms, and the uppermost layer is full of hydrogen atoms. So once again I am discussing this. The layer of the atmosphere beyond homosphere is known as heterosphere, because within this layer the chemical composition of the gases which are present in this part changes abruptly. That is why it is known as heterosphere. Within heterosphere, the lowermost layer is full of nitrogen molecules, so it is known as the nitrogen layer. Above that, the next layer is full of atomic oxygen or oxygen atoms. Beyond that, or above that oxygen dominated layer, we find another layer of the atmosphere which is full of helium atoms, and the uppermost layer of this heterosphere has abundance of hydrogen atoms. Okay, I hope up to this much all of you have understood. Now we will learn about the different layers of the atmosphere. This classification is not based on the basis of the composition of the atmosphere. This classification has been made on the basis of the properties of atmosphere. So, the lowermost layer of the atmosphere is known as troposphere. Okay, so this troposphere, the average height of the troposphere from the surface of the earth is almost 8 kilometers. This is the average height, but the height is more at the equator and it is quite less towards the poles. Why? This happens because of the shape of the earth, as because the earth has got a bulge at the equator and it is little bit flattened towards the poles. That is why. In your textbook, it has been written that the average height is 15 kilometer, but please don't write that the average height is 15 kilometer. Write down that the average height is 8 kilometers. Now, the next unique property of the troposphere, that is, within the troposphere, temperature decreases along with height. This is a very unique property of troposphere, as because we live within the troposphere. That's why we always see that hill stations are cooler than the plains, because within troposphere temperature decreases along with height, and there is a steady ratio for that. That is, for every 165 meter of ascent, the temperature drop down by 1 degree Celsius. This phenomena is known as the normal lapse rate. Next thing that we can say, all the different kind of weather phenomena or all the different kind of weather elements like rain, snow, sleet, hail, wind movement, horizontal wind movement or vertical wind movement, everything happens within the troposphere. The uppermost portion of troposphere is known as tropopause, because over here gradually the qualities of the troposphere is ending and the quality of the next layer about to start. That is why it is known as tropopause. In the upper layer of the troposphere, the temperature above the poles, it is minus 45 degrees Celsius, and at the equator it is minus 75 degrees Celsius. Now, the next layer which is present above the troposphere is known as the stratosphere. The average height of stratosphere is 50 kilometer, 50, and it is regarding the properties of stratosphere is quite opposite to the properties of troposphere. Within stratosphere, the temperature increases along with height. Another thing that we can say, that is, the stratosphere is totally free from water vapor, dust particles, all that. And it is also free from different kind of weather phenomena. No rain, hail, snow, nothing is experienced within stratosphere. That is why it is preferred by the aircrafts to fly. Next thing that we can say, that is, which is very important for the stratosphere, that is, in the upper portion of stratosphere we find huge amount of ozone molecules. Okay, and what is the significance of this ozone molecule? These ozone molecules, they are actually protecting our earth from the harmful ultraviolet rays which are coming from the sun towards the earth. This ozone layer which is present in the upper portion of the stratosphere, is actually protecting our Earth like an umbrella. Or else, if the ozone layer would not have been present there, then the ultraviolet rays would have come to our Earth without any difficulty, and the ultraviolet ray would have caused severe diseases to the living beings of our Earth. But the presence of ozone layer is protecting us from being harmed by the ultraviolet rays. Now the next layer of the atmosphere is the ionosphere. The ionosphere lies within 75 to 1000 km above the Earth. Again, in this layer, the temperature in this layer ranges from 500 degrees Celsius in the lower part to 1500 degrees Celsius in the upper part. This layer has got huge amount of freely moving ions present in it. That is why this layer is also known as ionosphere, or it has been named as ionosphere, mainly negatively charged particles. So children, you all are learning physics, so you must be knowing that the positively charged particles are the protons and the negatively charged particles are the electrons. So over here within the ionosphere, mainly electrons or the negatively charged particles are present. So these charged particles or ions, they are also playing a very important role. That is, they are very helpful in sending electromagnetic waves to the Earth. So now we are all connected through, we prefer mainly wireless communication, right? We are using mobile phones, we are using the dish antennas. Most of them are wireless communication. So these wireless communication is possible because of the ions which are present in this layer. Another thing that we can say, that as because in this layer the temperature increases along with height, so that is why the other name of this layer is thermosphere. And within this layer, or because of the presence of the ions in this layer, we can find the nice lights, nice rainbow kind of light in the poles, which are also known as aurora australis and aurora borealis. So we can see this nice rainbow kind of light in both the poles because of the electrically charged particles which are present in the ionosphere. The last layer of the atmosphere is the exosphere. This is the outermost layer of the atmosphere, and this layer is very, very thin, or rather we can say the density of gases are very less in this layer. The boundary of this layer is also known as exobase, and the exosphere is composed of ionized hydrogen which reflects the ultraviolet rays from the sun and creates a geocorona. Geocorona means a luminous layer or a brightly lighted layer. Okay, so children, today we are ending our class over here. In the next video, I will complete this chapter. So for the time being, please learn the composition and structure of the atmosphere, and please go through the unique properties of different layers of the atmosphere. Thank you.